All right, let's get started. The first two or three facts that you need to know, and they're the hard, cold truth. Uh, you most likely, I would say 100% of you do not know how to sell on social media or through paid ads. And I'll tell you why in a minute. The second thing that you need to know is there are no such thing as LinkedIn tools. LinkedIn is by far the most complete tool online for selling financial services. It has everything that you would need. I don't personally use Sales Navigator. Our team doesn't use Sales Navigator, but because we don't make the investment to do it because we are so good at LinkedIn without it. However, we highly, undoubtedly recommend Sales Navigator. We've used it before, and it just basically is an extension to all the features that you can do already, just with basically more access and less setbacks. You get the full picture, and you definitely want to use it through a desktop. If you're going to use Sales Navigator, you want to use it through a desktop. Uh, so that's the two things that you. Another thing actually that you want to know is I've spoken before with reps who are really good at selling, and they show me these proof that they boarded deals yesterday and today, and it's just constant growth. And I was talking to one of the reps, and he said, I told him about LinkedIn, and I told him, LinkedIn is where it's at. And he said, yeah, don't use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is by far the worst. And, I prefer not to argue. I didn't say anything. But at that moment, I really did question myself. I was like, well, he's boarding deals every day. All our team is boarding deals every day. I wonder where he truly is getting them from. I wonder what other strategic uh, methods that I don't know about. And I know for sure that there are hundreds of other methods that we don't know about. Uh, a lot of the training that I know because LinkedIn, for me and for our team, is 100% at the top. It's number one above all other platforms. LinkedIn is number one for merchant acquisition. If the reason for this is because it has business owners, it has all the information for to contact them, and everybody who is a business owner has that title. And there's so many statistics to LinkedIn. How using LinkedIn gets you closer to club, to meeting the sales goal to meeting club at the end of the year, or how almost or about 50, actually 51% of college graduates on LinkedIn. And there's so many more other statistics that you want to look into when working with LinkedIn. So the reason why I said that none of you, most likely 100% of you, undoubtedly don't know how to sell either through social media or through paid ads is because the people doing it, the people you see on your feed selling point of sale systems or merchant accounts or financial services don't know how to do it. Um, I've done it before, and my acquisition rate was somewhere in the $700 per account. And the accounts that we were acquiring were of you know questionable questionable volume. So you really have to wonder what people are doing wrong. And it's funny because I've heard other trainers mention that same 700 for acquisition. And I was like, well, that's about what I spent. and it really wasn't worth it. So anybody you see running paid ads for merchant accounts, I guarantee you they're completely doing it wrong, and they are completely going under profit. They are definitely in the negatives. Uh, unless you have a cookie cutter program like Square and other financial apps where they leverage simplicity with social media virality, you're definitely in a pickle. So even for Square, even years ago for Square, they were still having such a high. They were still paying enormous amount of money to gain merchants. Their merchant acquisition rate was through the roof. So, with that being said, let's. What you're looking at here is a dashboard on LinkedIn, and it says All Star. You want to go to your LinkedIn, and you want to make sure that all of your information is on there, from education to previous careers, previous jobs, titles, everything that it's asking of you. You want to complete it to of your uh, the best of your ability. All of the knowledge you need to input it on there, uh, and that'll get you to All Star within 5 to 10 minutes. That's going to help you with search appearances when people are searching for experts in your field, and that's going to raise how many people view your profile. As far as post views, which is right in the middle, you that depends on how many connections you have and how often you post, as well as how good your content is. Um, so that's some stuff to get going. Um, let's move on. So here we have endorsements set up, and most likely, uh, I would bet that every single one of you has your endorsement set up. So, and you probably have more endorsements than this. Uh, if you don't, you want to go in on your profile and you want to set up endorsements, skills and endorsements. You want to add anywhere from 10 to 50, which is the limit, and you just basically want to tell everyone your story with endorsements. You want to add everything that you can think of that you're good at, and that you're pitching, that you're offering, that people might want to look at and see that you're good at in order to hire you. uh, Moving on, and I'm going to move back to this. There's only a couple of things that you can do with uh, desktop. So the first thing that you can do through a desktop on LinkedIn is you can link your Twitter when you're about to post on LinkedIn through a desktop. It gives you the opportunity to link your Twitter, and you want to do that. You want to be able to post on LinkedIn and it to appear on Twitter every time. The second thing that you can do through a desktop is you can edit your cover photo. So your profile cover photo is editable through your desktop. And then you can add anything from your information, your contact information, a product you're selling, your brand name, slogan, anything that represents you and your company. Uh, those are the key factors in getting started. Uh, Another thing that you can do, and I highly recommend, is if you have a Fiverr account, you want to have a Fiverr account, you want to build one if you don't, and you want to, through Fiverr, you want to link your LinkedIn account. So that way when people go through Fiverr and they see your gigs, because that's what they're called, uh, through Fiverr, your gigs. You want to post a few gigs about merchant accounts and point of sales, but you want to have that Fiverr linked to your LinkedIn, so that way when people, sorry, I'm not used to talking much, so I just went at it. That way when people look at your gigs on Fiverr, they can see that you are linked to LinkedIn, and that's basically a huge endorsement, because they can be like, well, who is this guy, who is this person, and they can go to your LinkedIn account and see, maybe connect with you on a higher professional level. uh, the reason why I recommended Venmo is because or Cash App, but Venmo is through PayPal, and you want to be able to take transactions peer to peer at any moment through any services you're offering. So this is basically it, guys, to get you started. Remember, we talked about making your profile an all-star, adding all the information, all the essential, and your career path, and then uh, letting you know there's no such thing as LinkedIn tools. LinkedIn is a uh, complete software, and it has absolutely everything that you would need. Nothing out there is going to get you to sell on LinkedIn other than LinkedIn itself. Sales Navigator is great. We don't use it because we've gotten so good at using LinkedIn. However, if you can afford it, if you have a huge sales team, a big office, the space to help them manage it, go ahead. We highly recommend Sales Navigator as an investment. We consider it a lot of the times when we're running um, campaigns. The thing is, we're always mobile. All of our sales agents are, most of them, about 90% of our staff is always on route, traveling, and so on. So Sales Navigator is for someone who's always got their desktop right in front of them, and is doing sales from home. We talked about setting up your endorsements. All of you already have this. I have no doubt about that, because I've seen it, that 99% of people have their endorsements set up, and they're actually really, almost everyone has really high levels of endorsement. They have high numbers. So if you don't have that set up, you should. And the other 3 or 4 things that we talked about, that I talked about through this starting video, is you can link your Twitter through a post on your LinkedIn desktop, and you can also link, or Fiverr, through Fiverr you can link LinkedIn, and add some gigs on there. And Fiverr does a really good job of ranking your gigs. So if you're selling merchant accounts or financial services, you want to be on Fiverr, because people will start contacting you regardless of what you post. Fiverr will give you a chance to rank. And that way you can also link your LinkedIn account, and that'll give you a boost. Your profile picture, as I previously said, is only editable through desktop on LinkedIn. So make sure to add something savvy, something awesome that represents you and what you're all about. And again, the 2 things that I want you to take away from this is, there's going to be a lot of people telling you that there's LinkedIn tools. There's not. There is. They don't. As soon as they say LinkedIn tools, you should know you're talking to someone who has absolutely no idea how to use LinkedIn. The second thing is, there's going to be people that are going to tell you that LinkedIn is the worst platform to make sales. Like I heard from someone who was supposed to be a really, a top producer, and I was surprised. I actually want to follow up with them and kind of find out how they're doing it, because I know I know that they are not going door to door and they're making sales online or through the phone. So I would love to just kind of find out a little bit more about what their tricks are, because if they're not using LinkedIn and they have LinkedIn as the worst platform, um, there's really I'm missing something, and we'll probably post it once we find out what it is. I'm gonna put that on our to-do list. Find out what this agent is doing. If he's not using LinkedIn, and he's a top producer according to his reports, what platforms is he using? Uh, I know he's not using Facebook ads, because we saw some of his Facebook pages, and I would bet that what he's doing is telemarketing and networking, but he's definitely not using LinkedIn. And when I mean networking, is probably referral partners, everything through the phone. He's probably talking to a lot of people, and flyers and the whole 9 yards offline. So finally, we talked about the fact that there is really no market for paid ads in the financial sector. There is not. Regardless what people tell you, you might argue with me, you might tell me that there is, but there isn't. Every single person that we come across that is doing paid ads is paying such a high acquisition per client rate. It's just ridiculous. We've paid 700. We've heard of other people. The ranges are between $600 to $1,000 to acquire a merchant account with questionable volume. So those are the things that I want you to take away from this. And we're gonna post another video. Um, we're gonna post another video tomorrow on giving you enough time to just kind of catch up, do all of this. And the video that we're going to post is how you're supposed to be managing your LinkedIn. So it's a working progress, and you have to do it every day. You have to get on there, and you have to do certain tasks. You have to engage. So we'll be posting that tomorrow. Stay tuned.